Welcome back to another episode of Beyond Organised. I have Sally-Anne Kearns with me today, and she is a functional nutritionist who helps women 35 plus calm anxiety using stackable microhabits that clear brain fog and stabilize energy. Sounds like my needs right now. She's the host of the Nutrition Gateway podcast and the creator of the Healthy Reset. Simple, doable rhythms that bring women back to calm, clarity, and confidence in their body. Welcome, Sally-Anne. It is so good to have you, and I'm sure I can learn a few things from you today.
Thank you. Yeah, it's such a blessing to be here.
Lovely. So I'm going to just jump straight in because I have a feeling we're going to end up talking for a while because
Yeah.
I am your demographic of women.
You're over 35. All right,
Yep,
cool.
that's it.
Oh,
I
I love
am.
it.
So
Yeah.
I'm ready to learn here. So I want to hear firstly a bit about your story and background and what inspired you to get into doing the functional nutritionist role.
It was never a thing that I thought I was going to do. Health was never really my laneway. I was very much stuck in the conventional system. But when I became pregnant with my first son, I had a birth of my own self at the same
Mm,
time, unbeknown
yeah.
to me at the time. And prior to health, I actually ran a commercial real estate business in Sydney for 25 years. And I was the go-getter. Like I was doing some pretty amazing things in that space. And I felt pregnant. And the biggest question on my heart was, how am I going to do that at that pace where I'm giving that my all and then
Yeah.
really nurture myself and my baby? So I decided to sell the business. And then what came after birthing my son was the most severe postnatal depression and anxiety that I've ever experienced. And
Mm.
I just became a fragment of myself, my
Yeah.
former self, this woman that
Yeah.
was really dynamic and able to suddenly just feeling just really hopeless. And
Yeah.
so anxiety overtook my soul and I was looking for solutions. The conventional system just wasn't hitting it. And even I started turning into that holistic laneway, but there still weren't solid answers. There was no one really giving simple steps for a mum that was like in total overwhelm. So
Yeah.
God put in my path the Nutritional Therapy Association, Australia and New Zealand. And I rang them up and I said, look, I'm really gravitating towards your studies. And she said, great, because that's exactly the sort of people that we need. And so I went on this journey of really understanding not only food,
Oh,
but
yeah.
how our bodies respond to food and how we just have a signaling system of communication that when I look back now, it makes so much sense. But,
Mm-hmm.
in hindsight, of course, they say it's a wonderful
Yeah.
thing. But the clues were there all along, the menstrual
Mm.
discomfort, the addictions, the bulimia at one stage, and these are
Mm.
all clues of nutritional deficiency. And I kept just getting told that that's just kind of normal or given a pill.
Yeah.
And my body just fell apart, if I'm honest. And so I had to
Yeah.
really reclaim myself and rebuild my identity as Sally-Anne, now mother.
Yeah.
um, and God put me on the path. I can't say that it's been the easiest one. I'm very blessed to have a husband that's been
Mm.
incredible in partnership and
So
really,
good.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, makes a difference.
Oh, look, I feel so grateful that that's the part of the journey too, because I feel like from that space we can just do more.
Yeah, and you can just be free to be yourself and live in and step into the purpose that God has for you as individuals and as a couple. I can relate. I've got a great husband like that too, so it's good.
Yeah, and they want us to shine, and so
Yeah.
him watching me go through that transition of this dark night of the soul, and yet still needing to go to work and create income, and then coming home to me just like a mess. It
Yeah.
wasn't easy for him, and it's not talked about enough. Like
Mm.
it's just not, and nobody really kind of gives you a heads up of how difficult that transition can be when you had a strong identity in the past.
Yeah. Identity is that key word, isn't it? It's when your identity is wrapped up in a title or in some other part that no longer exists anymore because now all of a sudden you're mum
Yes.
and you're everything else. And it's like, hang on, I, where's Mel or where's Sally-Anne? Like in all of this, and you identified probably even as a real estate agent or whatever else. And that was part of your identity. And now it's just completely shifted. again. So I get it. I walk that too.
Yeah, yeah, it's an interesting path, and I feel as though there's a place in society where we could be better equipped for this. And look, I had my mother die when I was 22. She was
Mm,
44,
I'm
and
sorry.
well, it just is what it is. We can't change that. Like that's the journey,
44
right?
is young though. I mean, I'm not far off really.
Look,
For that.
I'm 44 now, and I think to
Wow.
myself, imagine that,
No way.
like that is so I feel young. Like I feel
Yeah.
young and vibrant and healthy. And obviously mum, had a story of trauma and didn't really make the best health choices. So that
Mhm.
sort of leads me into what I do now, because I think that
Yeah.
anxiety, when we have a low layer anxiety, we tend to reach for things that are no longer serving us.
Yeah.
And instead of finding constructive ways to balance our body and our nervous system and our blood sugar, actually, which is a huge
Mm,
driver, remove food sensitivities, which are a big trigger, we tend to lean to making those presentations of symptoms wrong and leaning
mm,
for things that are not really supportive for us. And our body is designed to heal. Let's be really
yeah.
truthful. It just needs to be given the right framework. And that's where I just feel so incredibly passionate about giving women tools, because I feel like I went round and round and round in circles for nearly 25 years
Yeah.
with my
Yeah.
health. Yeah.
Yeah, well, my health has probably been my whole life still, and
Yeah.
I'm still
Yes.
going around in circles in some ways. I'm further along, I'm better, I'm heading the right direction, but there are still parts of my body that I'm trying to understand and learn because, there's bits that are so stubborn, there's bits that flare up from time to
Yes.
time, and then you add cycles and hormones and everything on top of it, and I'm still trying to figure that out even 4 kids later. I'm
Yeah.
like, what is yeah, it's a bit of a journey and it's a tough one at times. So I'm speaking as someone that is not great in this area. And that's why I'm actually really excited to have you on because I feel like I could learn a thing or two.
Yeah, look, this is not stuff that's taught. As I went
Yeah.
through that program with the Nutritional Therapy Association, I was just like gasping, because
Wow.
there's these years of big food and big
Mm,
pharma really
mm.
making profit their
Yeah.
focus, and at the
Not
cost
caring
of,
about people.
yeah,
Mm.
at the cost of human health. And when I think about, only recently has America turned the food triangle upside down, but everybody knows the food triangle, and we, eat all
Yeah.
these refined grains and carbohydrates, the ones that are
Yeah.
really cheap to make and have huge amounts of additives and create havoc on our health and our
Yeah.
inflammation. And then we make our
Stores
body
the
wrong.
fat. Yeah.
Yeah, we make our body wrong for storing fat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so now we've got this war going on in our temple
Yeah.
between our mind, our body, which
Yeah.
is the house of something really special. Like, we've got to be
Yeah.
real. Our
Yep.
soul lives in there and the Holy Spirit lives in there. And
Yeah.
so now all of a sudden we're making these symptoms wrong. We're at war with our body. And that's
Yeah.
essentially why I teach what I teach, because
Mm.
it doesn't have to be hard. And our brains make it so much harder than it
Yeah.
needs to be.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Because I also have that level of wrestling between knowing that my body is the temple for the Holy Spirit, and I should be looking after it and caring for it, and I'm doing my best, but it's not reflecting in the natural. There's the
Mm.
supernatural and the natural, there's this disconnect, and
Yes.
so, yeah, I'm, like, hanging on to what you're saying right now.
I
So
guess if I'm talking through one of the things that really made sense to me, and I think this will make sense to your mamas too, is when we look at how we're biologically created,
Mm,
it is very much a north to south process, right?
mm,
So
mhm,
digestion starts even before we've put any food in our mouth,
yeah,
right? We're just dropping into our body, giving thanks.
yeah,
Thank you, Lord, for this beautiful food that we're about to eat. Let it nourish me. Anything that's not serving me, like, let it go, move through.
mm,
And yet, dropping in, closing your eyes, really filling your mouth with saliva, chewing mindfully,
Mm.
instead of like grabbing a piece of
Yeah,
leftover toast
on
on the
the go.
bench on the way to school,
Mm,
like,
yep,
hello.
yeah,
Well, when you look at the two, sometimes it's like, here we are, we're banging on about this self love piece. And yet,
mm,
the biggest thing that we can give ourselves is just the opportunity to slow down, to elevate our results,
yeah,
because that saliva triggers the enzymatic processes that need to happen. It changes the
break
pH of
it
our
down.
stomach. It
Mm,
enables our acids to break down those nutrients, take them through the large intestine into the small intestine, and that north to south process.
mm,
And here we are cutting out organs,
yeah,
removing parts of our stomach.
yeah,
And I'm not making any of this wrong, because when you
mm,
know better, you do better.
yeah,
But really, I feel as though, because we've been so hoodwinked on the empowerment piece with this wellness journey, that we then make our body wrong. And that's what
yeah.
then goes, oh, well, I've got no other option. I may as well rip out my gallbladder, you know?
Yeah. Well, I have
Um,
had my gallbladder removed and I fought it at the time.
yeah,
I
man.
really fought it.
Yeah.
I was doing everything with like the lemon and the oil and like all this natural stuff to try and like get rid of the stones
Get
in
rid of
that.
the
But
stones. Yeah.
then COVID came along and having another flare up and ending in hospital, and the doctor pretty much telling me for like the third time, look,
Mm,
we don't know what's going to happen with this pandemic, and people don't die from this because we remove the gallbladder and people live. But to be honest, if you keep leaving it and you can't get the medical attention, it could kill you.
oh,
And
yeah.
I'm
No
just
fear
like,
and anxiety there. Like,
that
hello.
fear, yeah, and that fear, and then not knowing what was going to happen, because this was April 2020 at that point when I got it out, and not really knowing what's ahead, and me and my husband going, look, you've fought it for like 2 years, you've done your best, and you've tried to, but it's not worth dying over, like,
No,
and
it's not.
so we agreed to it. But there's, unfortunately, from that, there's been knock on effects with my health. And I also had weight loss surgery, not knowing better. I know better now and I make better choices
Oh,
now.
yeah.
But there's things that I wish I could go back on and I can't. But I also I also understand that it's a journey and it's a process. There's grace for mistakes that I've made, and God can restore a lot of
Amen.
things. Even if I
Amen.
don't have a full stomach anymore, it's the size of a banana, and I don't have like a gallbladder, I also believe fully in the healing and restoration that can still happen even without those parts. So
Yes.
it's that balance, but I also have to be wise with how I treat and look after myself now. And yes, if I could go back to my younger self, I would have different words, but I can't. And so this is where I am now and this is what I do moving forward. But it's been quite a journey and quite a
Yeah.
roundabout, and I still haven't got it all right. And so yeah, there's a
This
lot to
all
learn.
right thing, like we feel like, and if I was going to give advice to anyone, it's like we have this thing where we've got to do it right. And it's like,
Mm,
okay, get it. We all know, hands up, after school
yeah.
holidays, it takes us a little bit of time to get re regulated into our flow.
Yeah. Yep.
And so, as a parent, we're managing multiple tabs, kids' calendars, financial deadlines. We're trying to show up in the space that brings us joy, whether it's
Yeah.
podcasting or coaching women. And there's a lot happening on the mental load point of view. So when it comes back to, when you feel better, you do better. When you know better, you do better. And
Yep.
then we throw in some frameworks of organization in there
Yeah.
around, okay, non-negotiable is I need to spend 15 minutes meal planning this week. And that doesn't have to be hard. It's okay to cut up celery and cucumber sticks for the kids for dinner and give them some raw tomatoes. Like, it's okay. Like,
Yeah.
that is a
My
good
friend
dinner,
does that.
right?
She
Yeah,
does
well,
the whole, like, cold meats and
yeah.
veggies, and it's all finger stuff, and she's got 2 little kids, I think they're 5 and 2, and they love it. They just,
Yes.
like, they eat all, like, yeah, the carrot sticks and everything, because they can get in and they can just pick what they want, and
We're
they can just
designed to touch our food.
yeah,
There's a
and they
connect, kids, there's a connection. We're
and
told
it's
to eat
so
with knives and
easy for
forks.
her, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, "I need to do that more." I've been doing
Yeah.
more things like that too, so, yeah, I'm open to any ideas you've got for things that are quick and easy for mums to put together that's healthy.
Oh, look, honestly, so my go-tos are sausages are good for natural casing, no
Yep.
preservatives, go to the butcher, get
Forget
them
the
made
German
up.
sausages.
Yeah, they're an incredible breakfast, lunch, and dinner food. You can chop
Yeah.
them up, you can throw them through salads, you can,
Yep.
they're something that brings the protein element in quite fast. You
Yep.
can even go the extra notch and put some organ meats in there, like a 5%
Mm.
profile. I know I screw my face up too, but guess what? Liver is the most bioavailable B vitamin nutrient known to
Oh,
women.
I'm too scared to try it, like,
You
the
won't taste
taste.
it at 5%. You won't taste it. Trust me. I am
Okay.
like the liver smelling queen. But
Hmm,
at five,
okay.
so if you've got a good butcher, just experiment. You can do
Yeah.
it with mince too.
Okay.
But more than 5% really does change the flavor, and you can taste it, and it's gross, and
Okay.
then no one will eat it, and you'll just waste your money. So
5%,
just
gotcha.
start slow. Poaching chicken, like if you've got a
Yeah.
Thermomix, that's the
Yep.
easiest thing on the planet. You
Yeah.
can freeze it in Snaplock bags or
Yep.
glass containers if you have the
Yeah,
ability
I roast
to.
it sometimes too,
Yeah, and
so
just like, pull it apart. You can put it in
yeah.
a quick pesto with some gluten-free pasta or some zucchini noodles. Protein eggs are one of my go-tos.
Yeah,
It's a
love eggs.
love-hate relationship with
Yeah.
eggs. But it's got the choline in there, which really supports our
Mm.
brain health. It's bringing all those B vitamins through the egg yolk. Um, as close
Yeah.
to nature as possible. Like the minute we
Yeah.
start to open packets, that's the minute that the wheels can fall off.
Yeah.
And the framework that I teach is very much about protein, complex carbohydrate, so vegetable, ideally non-starchy, and then make sure you've got a profile of healthy fat. Now,
Mm.
what's a healthy fat, you ask? Well, most
Yeah.
people will go
Egg yolk.
avocado,
Yeah.
but if you can make some mayonnaise, great. There
Yeah.
is an organic brand mayonnaise that has less seed oils in it that
Okay.
if you're a Box Divvy member, you can get it through Box Divvy. But I've only recently purchased it because I was getting to the point where I was like, we love a bit of mayo in our family,
Yeah.
but
Us
it's
too.
it's just the fact that everything has canola oil in it now, and that elevates us getting skin cancers, right?
Mm.
And so when you
Yeah.
start to put two and two together, oh, Australia has the highest rate of skin cancers in the world. It's like,
Yeah.
we also have probably one of the highest seed oil consumers.
Yeah. Okay.
So there
Yeah.
was a study that 100% of mice that were given seed oils got 100% of skin cancer. The others given tallow,
100%.
extra virgin olive oil got none. So just know that for
Wow.
the marketing giant that is the world is
Mhm.
very much a problem solution model. Like we'll create this problem,
Yeah.
we'll create a solution, and then there's all these people in the middle that get monetized.
Yeah.
And so
Sickening.
look, I try not to go there too much, but it
Yeah.
does when I go through the supermarkets and I'm reading food labels, I'm like, holy crap,
Yeah.
what have we got here?
Yeah.
Um,
Well, the least amount of numbers, the least
numbers.
amount of ingredients, the least amount of things that are in it, usually the better because
But
the
no
closer it is
pressure.
to its whole form.
Like
Yeah.
honestly, how many other hats are we going to juggle? Now we have to be,
Yeah.
food label experts
Mm.
because they've been greenwashed on the front of the packaging. Like
That's why I
it's
just make a salad or something that goes with dinner. Like, I don't need
yeah,
to read a packet for that. Like,
that, yeah.
spinach is spinach. And
Yes, yeah,
whatever.
absolutely. Yeah, I'm with you. So I feel as though when I'm working with people, I get to really go into their moments and be like, where are you getting stuck? Like if I was to say to you,
Mm,
meal plan, how does that feel in your body? Let's come
mm,
up with 12 or 15 recipes that the family love that we can put on rotation, and that's it. You
yeah,
just stick to those 15 and you put them on post-it notes. If you want, all 15,
yeah,
write them up and then stick them on the fridge and say, kids, pick one
yeah,
each.
yeah,
Hubby, pick one and you stick it on the calendar. That's your meal plan. How long is that taken?
yeah. Well, I think I heard something, can't remember if it was on one of the podcasts I did or not, but where the average family only has like a maximum of 3 staple meals that they go to, like 3 or something. And I'm like, 3? That's like, you're gonna get sick of that pretty quick, but then you're gonna reach for things like takeaway. You're gonna reach for all these other things because you're like, "Oh, I don't feel like that. I don't know
Yeah.
that," because it's just like 3 things. I'm like, "You need to get more recipes under your belt." I don't even like cooking, but I've got more than 3 up my sleeve.
Yes, yeah. And I think it's finding things that work because we know that, if the kids have got sports on a certain night and we're going to be out
Mhm.
late, then there's going to more be grab and go solutions or
Yep.
slow cook options or pre-done meals or double batch
Yeah.
defrosted. Like
True.
you do have to kind of I think as women and organized, or women that are
Mm,
wanting to be organized,
yeah.
we do need to look at that calendar and
Forward
and
think.
and
Mm,
slightly forward think. And then I don't mean like
yeah.
3 months in advance. I'm just
Yeah,
talking
even
about
the
7
morning
days off.
of. It could
Yeah.
even be the morning of. Like, when I'm helping women, I break it down, like, as small as they can manage, you know? And if it means looking at the week ahead is too much for you, break it down to the day. Like, just do the
Yeah.
morning of, and do you need to defrost the chicken breast out of the freezer or something? Like, grab it out in the morning, but even if it's just the day of, like, it's fine. And as you have been mentioning, and probably will mention, the meal prep, which then you can have things done in advance, so then you can just grab it out and ready to go. But what are even your thoughts on that? Because I know for me and how I work, I don't necessarily do the meal preps on a Sunday afternoon or anything. I used to in the past, and it was just too much extra. I like double batch cook or something like that. So then I've just got leftovers. Like, what are your thoughts on all that?
So I don't batch, because I
Mm.
feel as though I don't really want to spend an entire hour in a whole day in my kitchen. I
Yeah,
just don't. I'm not
same.
that. I mean, I don't mind cooking, but now my children are older and we're moving away from the desired finger foods. We're starting to eat just
Mm.
simple things like steak,
Yeah,
whereas
oh,
they
so
wouldn't do
good.
that because they couldn't chew it when they were a
Yeah,
little bit littler. But now that we're 7 and 9,
yeah,
they're a lot more open to just having a very simple form of protein, a very
yeah.
simple form. And some, I've got 2 kids that eat totally different vegetables. So it does make it really tricky. But what
Yeah,
I've gotten to is I'm like, you know what? One likes cucumber, one doesn't. So put cucumber out. One likes
yeah.
carrots, one doesn't. One likes he'll eat radish and beetroot and all the rest.
Mm.
But the one that just likes cucumber, just give him cucumber.
Yeah,
Like
it's still good.
look, it's better than a kick in the pants. And so I
Yeah,
think we make it really hard, and we make
yeah.
our children wrong for having food aversions. And I work with clients teaching them how to identify food sensitivities in 3 minutes
Mm,
without any expensive testing. And when you start to recognize that our aversions change seasonally,
mm.
our body is
Yes.
in a constant state of change. Like the fact that we think that, oh yeah, I'm allergic to this right now. I've been allergic to avocado and coconut oil. They
Oh,
were highly
that's not
inflammatory for me. Yeah, but
they're
but
not
how
that's not
many
great
people do
then.
you think it's a healthy food,
Yeah,
inverted commas, right?
yeah.
So, but that's no longer the case. So I
Wow.
think for a lot of us, it's just finding some things that we know we can do with really low energy, or on the days
Mm.
where the proverbial is hitting the fan, right? So
Yeah.
I will give one tip that's been a game changer for my family, because women in particular will constantly say that when the kids ask what's for dinner and they don't have a plan, that puts them into a state of fight or flight.
Mm.
So in my kitchen, the splashback is like a glass whiteboard.
Yes,
And
awesome.
so what I do when I meal plan, I literally will get a blank piece of paper. I'll go through the freezer, see what protein I have. I'll then see what I've got in my pantry,
Yeah.
and I marry it up with this baseline. I start with the protein first and then the meal option.
Yeah,
Once I've picked my meals for the 7 days, I will put them up on the kitchen wall so
awesome.
that my son comes home and he never asks me
Yeah,
what's for
'cause
dinner.
you can
He
see
just
it.
goes and reads it, right? And
Yeah.
for him, that his persona, he loves to know things in advance.
That's my eldest.
Yeah.
Yep,
And my
he's the
eldest is
same.
like that. And so that instead of him, he'll often jump in the car and he'll be like, Mum, are we still having blah blah for dinner?
Yeah,
So he remembers, and that gives him
same.
a space of control. Like for him, it
Yeah.
gives him, it's something that he can control.
Yep,
So
yep.
that makes my life easier, because then I
Mm.
don't get, oh, I don't feel like that. I've never had that.
Yeah. Or the
Bec-
whole, "Oh, ooh, I was thinking of this," and then you end up
I don't
doing
want that.
something else, and then they have a little meltdown because in their head, they're prepared to eat some the original thing you said, and you forgot
Totally.
about it.
Yeah. And if you've got more than one kid, that becomes a battle because everybody feels like
That's
something
happened
different.
to me before. So
Yeah.
I don't have the backsplash like that, but I've got it on the fridge
Yeah.
with the calendar and that. I write it out there. He loves it. He can see, and it keeps me accountable.
Well, it just makes it easy because the night before you can look at it and go, okay, do I
Yeah.
need to defrost
Yeah,
anything?
defrost
And
the mints or
look,
whatever.
I'll be
Yeah.
honest, at the peak of my postnatal depression, when I couldn't even go into supermarkets, the delivery would come for carrots. And because of the meal planning structure, this was a new skill. Believe it or not, before kids, I didn't know how to cook. I didn't even know what bone broth was. This was only
Wow.
10 years ago. So
Yeah.
I had to teach myself how to nourish myself because it was so foreign. And the
Yeah.
carrots would arrive. And if I was one short, I would have a meltdown because I was like,
Oh,
oh my gosh, how am I going to make that meal? Or I'm going to have to go to the shops. And I
uh,
just
yeah.
literally couldn't function at that
Mhm.
level. So that's
It's
how
rough.
unwell I was. And I'm not there now, obviously, which I'm
Yeah.
very grateful for. But
Yeah.
I just want to encourage people that find someone that can help you just make these choices easier. And from that space, you can start to micro habit stack. And then
Mm.
one little thing that you're sort of mastering becomes effortless.
Yeah.
It goes from consciously doing it
Yeah.
to unconscious
Yeah.
behavior. And that doesn't happen overnight.
No, but it does stick. I've done those little one percenters, just those one little substitutions on foods or things like that. I still do years later because it's just so normal for me now. But it's a learned
Yes.
behavior, but it's just normal. I wouldn't even think to go back to using sugar or something like that when I know better alternatives, or even something like cooking using a bit of honey or something instead of the sugar or whatever, just depending on what it is, of course. But it's more once you make those little changes that it's a lot easier to do that. And then you build from there because then you can move on to the next thing to deal with and then the next thing and the next thing. And before you realize you've changed a lot without feeling like you've sacrificed anything
Yeah.
and you're missing out.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't actually ever feel like I'm missing out now.
Yeah.
But that wasn't my journey 10 years ago, right? Like that
Yeah.
wasn't where I started. In the beginning,
Mm,
taking away
same.
bread was like, oh my God, I'm gonna die with no
Yeah.
bread. And then as I went on the healing journey and I realized, okay, genetic testing demonstrated that I had 3 SNPs of MTFHR, so I don't methylate well. And what does that mean? It means that the folic acid in bread is a real
Mm.
aggravant for my detoxification pathways. And so
Wow.
all of a sudden I was just like, oh my gosh, because
See, I
we
don't
don't.
know all that. I don't know what my body's doing. Oh, now I need to find out.
Yeah, well, look, yeah, yes and no. I mean, ultimately, the truth is you don't need to go and spend tens of thousands of dollars on testing
Mm.
like I did. You just don't. You can actually understand the language of your body. And that's kind of
Mm.
what I'm passionate
What you
about
do.
teaching. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
that's why you're the expert.
well, I don't know. Look, I'm forever learning. I did a podcast with a woman the other day and she's the supplement expert and my mind got blown because the outcome was 85% of supplements are useless.
Hmm.
And I'm
Well,
thinking,
that's not
I
helpful.
play in that laneway, right?
Yeah.
But it just made me realize that we're still trying to fix the problem with a pill.
Yeah.
And yet
Yeah.
on our plates, and yes,
Yeah.
you could argue that the nutrient profile is depleted, etc. I just kind of think to myself, I'm like, it's another stitch up. We're trying
Yeah.
to create a short-term solution for a
Yeah.
problem that really needs to be fixed with
Yeah. But
good foundations.
everyone wants the shortcut though. They don't like it's hard work. It can be hard work changing habits, changing the way that you used to doing things, taking away something that you liked, like genuinely liked, to replace it with something that is okay. Like, there's a lot of work that goes into having to reframe and even shift your perspective on things. There's a lot of work that goes into it. And for most people, they just want a quicker, easier fix. And that was partly what led me to doing the weight loss surgery because I'd already dealt with a bit of the mind stuff, but it wasn't really until afterwards that I realized like I needed to deal with a lot more of the mind stuff if I was going to keep the weight off and all that kind of stuff. I really had to get this right because this is something I've got to live with for the rest of my life. But I'm grateful for it because I feel like it was the catalyst for me to like pick my socks up and get on with it. So the pros and cons, I'm not against weight loss surgery, but I just wish that I'd educated myself more and just absolutely exhausted everything, every option before I went down that path, but that's okay.
Oh,
It's a
look,
learning.
I think there's lots of things that even partially educated Sally-Anne is like, kind of I wish I didn't do that. And yet we have to have grace because we do have a system that is actually geared against us.
Yeah,
And what do I mean by that? You know, a lot of people have been like, oh, well, that's genetic. Yeah, but genetic patterns, if you think about how families eat, that
yeah,
is also what's being repeated. So if your mum and dad
yeah,
ate a certain way, they're the way that we eat. And the
yep,
challenge is bread from 20, 30 years ago is not the
so
same as
different.
the bread now. So
Yeah,
we keep kind of saying that, oh, you know, grandma, she lived to 103 and she did this and she did that.
yeah,
Yeah, but for 80% of her life, she wasn't
yeah,
poisoned by the food system. Let's be
yeah.
really honest and
We
call
grew
it
our
for
own
what it
veggies in the
is.
backyard, like
Even if she didn't, they didn't use
Yeah,
glyphosate as a finishing product on the grain. You know,
yeah,
like, let's
yes,
be really truthful about how much the food system has changed. And the only
yeah,
thing that can,
set up and against us.
well, it is. Well, I
Mm.
don't even know if it's intentionally against
Yeah,
us because that's very much
no.
a victim mindset. But
Yeah, no, but it's just all these things add up, don't they? Like,
yeah,
one little thing here or there wouldn't probably be so much of a problem, but when it's every time we put something in our mouth and every meal and every food, like, then
yeah, it's a lot.
it adds up.
It does, and I kind of quite often talk about the bucket. Like we've got this
Yeah.
bucket, and it's okay. And this is where a lot of women get to that sort of perimenopausal age, and they're like, "I've changed
Mm.
nothing," and yet
Mm,
we're not really educated that menopause is managed by the adrenal system, and so
mm,
it's a baton that gets passed as part of a relay. You know, but if you're
mm,
at the point of your transitioning to menopause and your adrenals are already pooped, then
mm.
going through that next phase of the leg of the race
Rough.
is rough. And
Yeah.
so I guess what I try to encourage 35-year-old women to do is let's really start to nourish ourselves for that 5 to 10 to 15-year window where we can actually gracefully go through the next layers. Because
Mm,
changing something when you're already on top of it, it takes time.
yeah.
So my simple daily go-tos now for my own well-being is obviously not I'm not big on supplements, but I found 3 years ago as a prayer out to God was my husband was going through really chronic back pain, and
Mm.
I'd had an ex-partner suicide from back pain, and
Oh,
so
I'm
this brought
sorry.
up so much for me. Like watching my
Yeah.
husband go through this, I was just like, oh my God, what are we
A
going to
little
do? And all
trauma.
the things,
Yeah.
yeah, all the things that would have normally worked
Mhm.
just weren't working for him. And a
Mm.
girlfriend rang me and she said, Sal, you got to check this out. My knee is fixed and the other friend who had sciatica, that's fixed. And I was
Wow.
shown a light signaling technology that
Okay.
was divine through prayer and
Mm.
created by a biologist inventor who used to do technology for the Navy SEALs to keep them awake
Mm.
and get
Ah,
out off amphetamines and stimulants.
okay.
And so this company is a 21-year-old company, but they're little stickers, they're patches, right? And you pop them on 12 hours a day, 12 hours off. And
Mm.
they signal your body to do the inner work, the repair. And so that for my husband was a game changer. Day one, we noticed these huge shifts. For me,
Wow.
I was, oh my gosh, 6 weeks in. I noticed changes to energy, sleep, and just waking up feeling ready, like, you know, really
Yeah.
ready. 6 weeks mark, a postpartum hemorrhoid that I'd had for 6 years and tried everything to shift, got worse for a few days and then left and has never come back again. I'm like,
Wow.
yes.
Man, and I got a really nasty point. Sorry, it's too much
Yeah,
information, but I
no,
got a
they
really
are
nasty one
hell.
with my last pregnancy that, yeah, they needed to fix it when I was under. Like,
Yep.
yeah, it was
It's,
bad, and
they're
I could
severe.
not sit down properly. It was just so for 6 years, I'm imagining that for 6 years. I had
Yeah.
it for, like, a few weeks, and it was, like, horrible, but 6 years? I
Yeah. Yeah. And
that would
so,
have
I mean,
changed
not
your
just
life.
look, it did. And I was thinking, how can like this little band-aid looking thing, you know, that you
Yeah.
pop on the back of your neck, I've got one on my belly button today. How could it really do what it did? And that's part of what I incorporate into what I do now because I'm like, you know what?
Wow.
sometimes when we're in overwhelm and we're feeling anxious and we just need something to help us feel a little bit better so we can even meal plan, because sometimes we're in
Yeah.
so much chaos in our body and mind that we can't even,
Mhm.
the thought of meal planning is too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I've been there.
oh,
Yep.
I think we all have. And it's,
Yep.
you build a system and you sort of work at it, you chip away what's working, what's not working. But with the cost of living crisis now, without a plan, you end up spending, I reckon,
Way more.
$150 more than you need to every
Yeah,
week.
definitely. That I
So
have to have a plan because I've
yeah,
got a very tight budget.
yeah. Look, and
So
we're the I think everybody does when
yeah.
electricity's gone up from, $3 a day to
Ugh.
$10 a day. And
Yeah, don't even wanna think about it.
I know I got my bill today and I was like, $12 a day? What, there's only four of us. And I'm
I
thinking
just changed electricity provider recently because we get 3 hours of free electricity in the middle of the day, which is very helpful for me.
for you.
So
Yep,
I'm
you're like,
doing
all the loads are washing between 12 and
everything
3.
is on in the 3 hours, and I'm crank up the aircon at the moment, like, to full
Yeah,
blast for the 3
cool the hours down. Let's go, baby.
I'm maxing it out, everything.
Good
The
on you.
dishwasher's on, the washing machine, the aircon, everything.
All right, kids, I'm going to go blow dry my hair and straighten it right now.
That's it, that's it. I'm getting
Don't
our
call me.
money's worth out of this.
I'm with you. So look, I think as we go along on the journey, we do need to give ourselves grace. We need to invite God into it and just be like, you know what, Lord, what is
Yeah.
it that I'm not seeing? Or if you need to see your blind spots, get a coach.
Yeah.
Because I didn't see my own blind spots. I had to seek help from so many different practitioners until I knew the way and I'd walked the path. And now I can look back and be like, oh, you're where okay, great. This is the things that I did
Yeah.
that really moved the needle. And I just love being that person because I felt like if there was someone that was teaching what I now know then, my journey
Mm.
would have been so much more redacted. Like I wouldn't have been.
You're preaching to the choir here. That's why I'm a coach as well, doing what I do, because it took me like 12 years and tens of thousands of dollars and just so much time and learning to get to where I was, that I could help fast, and I have been fast tracking women. They don't have to spend that kind of money. They don't have to spend anywhere near that kind of time. It's just get on with it. Like, getting a coach is definitely worth it. And I'm telling you now, Sally-Anne, when we finish this podcast, I'm going to be talking to you about my own journey, because
Oh,
you sound like exactly what I need for my health journey in this season. So yeah,
yeah, totally. Well,
exciting.
I'd love to back you. I mean, there's so many cool things that we can start to learn from the body and being able
Yeah.
to understand its language. So its signals and being able to confidently interpret them, be like, oh, that means that. So I'm going to do
Mm.
this. And I love the why piece. That's the bit that's really juicy. And if I don't get the why, I'm like, doesn't really make sense.
Mm.
So giving things jobs, giving
Yep.
them an allocation as to why we're doing this. We're doing this because. So if you're out there, you're feeling just overwhelmed and anxious and you don't know what to do next, but you need to climb out of a hole with your
Yeah.
well-being. The first thing I would say for you is just firstly, surrender it to God. That would be, and if you don't know God, invite him into your heart. Invite Jesus into your heart, because guess what?
Mm.
He's got some plans for you.
Yeah.
And then that space of surrender, just what do you want me to know and what do you want me to do? And start your day with some protein. That is
Mm.
ultimately my best suggestion for any woman struggling with anxiety. It's like you have to, what you think is a normal ratio, like one egg. No, 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 no. We're
Mm.
going to do two, honey. And finding, because what that, like, balancing that blood sugar piece is the piece that communicates with the hypothalamus axis. It's when your blood sugar's off, it throws your adrenals, it throws your pituitary, you end up in this cycled loop of
Mm.
overwhelm. And then when we're in that space, we can't
Yeah.
function.
Can't function properly.
No. And so if that means, finding out more about the light signaling technology that I'm sharing, fine, reach out to me, send me an
Mm.
email, call me if you need to. Because truthfully, there were so many people that were lights in the darkness to me.
Mm.
There were so many, like, and I just remember them popping up like little daisies, and I went, oh, this is the next part of the journey. This is the next part. And it's not one and
Mm.
done. We're stacking.
Continuous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I just encourage women out there to just have hope, because
Yeah.
when we're in the hole, it can feel pretty horrible, but there
Yeah.
is there is the breakthrough, and that means
Yeah.
you restoring yourself to your former self. It's out there. You just got to find the right person to partner with.
Yeah. I agree. Someone to help lift you out of that hole.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, totally.
Oh, that is so good. Oh my goodness. Time flies. I knew it would happen. That's why I just jumped straight into it at the beginning, and here we are. So for those that are listening, if they want to be able to get in touch with you, where's the best place to find you?
Look, I'm going through a rebrand at the moment, but I am on Facebook under Sally-Anne Kearns. So that's Sally-Anne hyphenated Kearns. If you want to binge on the podcast, it's called Nutrition Gateway. It is on Apple and Spotify. And if you do need some help, you're sitting listening to this going, oh, I can't do this on my own. I don't know how to get out of this. Then please ring me, 0400 And
Mhm.
I'm serious. Like, that is my number. And if you need help, you call me and send me an email, sally@sallyannkearns.com.au. I'm here to back you. If I don't feel like you're a good fit, I'll be completely transparent.
Mhm.
There's somebody else that I can refer you to. So just know that it's okay and that you are exactly where you're meant to be.
Yeah. Lovely. Well, I'll make sure all those details are in the show notes to make it nice and easy. But thank you so much for coming on today. It's been an absolute pleasure hearing you and what you do. And even my mind is going, oh, I need that light therapy stuff. That sounds great. Like, yeah, just thank you for sharing what you do and helping us on our health journey.
You're so welcome. Thanks, Mel. Such a blessing to be here.